All right, we are live talking for what will unfortunately be the last time about the World Hockey Championships, unless Curtis randomly streams by himself and breaks in.
That's probably not happening. You can look at my tweets though.
Yes, you can look at your tweets. Your tweets are going to be great because I'm not going to be tweeting, so I can't offer up any opinions. I'll be tweeting about racing, so I feel like I've gained a lot of followers that like hockey that all of a sudden are going to leave when I start talking about Canadian racing.
I will probably start tweeting about racism and still lose all of those same followers. That's what happens when your Twitter account is a fun mix between hockey, reality television, and politics.
Yeah, they don't mix at all.
I have 600-ish followers tops, and that is my max.
I'm right now at 2,972 when I started this tournament with like...
You've got a broader swath of the population than I do.
I had a lot less followers than that a week ago, so I'll just tell you that. Basically, It was that one tweet, the one about the dude...
the Vine that you posted.
Vine. What year is this?
Whatever.
No, the video of the guy Radko Gudas. That was the one that kind of went like,
yeah, punching you in the face.
Everything went big. Hello to everyone who's watching right now. I know
that's sweet line.
Yeah, I know. Yesterday, I know Nicholas Garcia wanted to watch it. He didn't get a chance. He left a really big comment, and his.
Oh, I didn't get to see that either. Oh, that's my bad. I totally forgot. And
he's here today. So hello, Nick. Probably one of the best guys to follow for international hockey. So make sure to follow
him recently, I think. But 100%. This morning, I didn't get to watch most of the first two games. Of course, let's just totally ruin my qualifications for even being on this podcast right now. But I didn't get to watch most of the first two games because I had a quick meeting. So I was just keeping updated via Nick's tweets. So
you got to follow. Good. You got to follow. Anyways, yeah. So I want to quickly give a shout out to the Pan Am Ice Hockey Games, which a tournament Curtis and I cared a lot about a couple of years ago. A tournament that Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and Mexico are all in, and then Chile is playing in the very first hockey tournament ever. So very cool. Looking forward to that. It is a IIHF supported tournament. You just wouldn't know that because they never talk about it. So Brazil's been doing a lot of fundraising. They actually just had a documentary entered into a film festival. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, so let's talk about real hockey. And I guess we can start with the games that you did actually see. We'll go with...
That's fine. We can start wherever you want.
Okay. Let's go with USA versus Finland because what the heck? That's the biggest story of the day. We've been really like, wow, why is Finland... Like, what's going on in Finland? And then you brought up a point before we started this. I don't think anyone actually gave Finland enough credit for they did pretty well in this tournament. Yeah, they did not play to usual Finnish standards, but right now they have a chance to actually go for a gold medal, and that's kind of big.
Yeah, I think we might not have done our due diligence. We've been bashing Finland a little bit. Obviously, yesterday we both gave them. At least I know I gave them a little bit of a chance. I said that the U.S. was going to win in overtime. Obviously, they get shut out. They lose 2-0. But it's interesting to think about, like, Finland had an awful start to the tournament when we started streaming day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. They had lost two or three games by then, I believe. They haven't since 10 days ago. They've lost one game, and it was against Canada. Every other game they've played since 10 days ago, and 10 days ago is like a long time in a round robin tournament when you're playing 3 games in 4 days or 2 games in 3 days. They have not floundered they haven't lost a game against a non-Canadian team since, I want to say, the Czechs, maybe. I could be wrong on that. I have it up here. Since the Czechs, they lost that one in the shootout. So they haven't actually lost a regulation game this tournament outside of Canada since they dropped it 5-1 to France, which was obviously the reason that we were down on Finland in the first place. So
yeah.
And my odds have them beating Sweden. So we'll see where they take it now. But I think perhaps they're better than we gave them credit for, just because that loss against France was really bad.
About the Sweden thing, I do think that Sweden, I think Sweden will give a good challenge. We'll talk about that kind of a little later. So Nicholas Garcia gave a very good point that today's game was only the second time where Finland didn't trail at any point. That's huge.
Right.
To basically go out there and beat the Americans 2-0, a team that did win their group. Again, I think I tweeted yesterday, I don't think the Americans were as the first place team, not at all. And then the fact that they pull it off, the IIHF has them in their power rankings, which are mainly most supposed to be a joke, but the standings are pretty accurate. They did have the Americans coming first.
The standings are accurate to what the standings are at the time, but the standings also had Latvia second after 2 days of the tournament. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, the one-liner. I'll go on the record and say the one-liners aren't that funny and the standings aren't accurate, so I don't even look at them.
I think Lil B said this: the one-liners were funnier in the last few years. This year, it's kind of been.
Yeah.
The coolest one was something about Gudas punching his teammates in the face, which he didn't do any other time. So congrats to him. Not that we expected that to happen, but yeah, basically the Americans they just took away too many penalties, and it was just careless penalties. We saw Eichel take a penalty within the last 2 minutes, and that basically they couldn't do anything after that. That wrote them off, and I can't say Jimmy Howard played bad. Finland just played better. And Finland played when Finland scored the 2 goals, they went into a full shutdown mode, kind of like what the Ottawa Senators are getting known to do right now. And I think that it was better. I thought Finland just played the best game they've played all tournament. They shut down the Americans when they needed, and again, got the job done. Harry Sateri played fantastic. I know that's not how you pronounce his name, but I know that that was the first time Finland's goaltending really kind of took center stage. And again, that looks like a normal Finnish effort compared to the mismatch of what we've seen all tournament.
Yeah, you know what? It was a pretty close game. The Americans still outshot the Finns, although they also took 3 times the amount of penalties. The Americans had 12 minutes in penalties, and the Finns had 2 or 4, I think. So there was a lot of room for the Finns to move. 6 different power plays. I think they picked up 1 goal on those power plays out of their 2 goals. It would have been the Mikko Rantanen goal. And so, the Americans, I don't even want to say, I know what you're just saying, we weren't giving the Finns enough credit. I don't even want to say they came out super strong. They still got outshot despite having a significantly higher amount of time on the power play. But what they did was they capitalized on American mistakes when they had to, and against a team that is first in their group but probably shouldn't be in the Americans, and I think was proven today that maybe they shouldn't be. That's all it took.
Yep, and 100%. So congrats to the Finns. The Americans, you know what? Incredible year. They pretty much won at every level possible. So losing the World Championships was pretty big. I don't want to say it was a big disappointment, but at the same time, it's a tournament that a lot of American fans kind of go like, what's the point of being?
They don't really pay attention.
Exactly. So either way, I think it was a good one. Then we saw the Russians beat the Czechs, and I was kind of hoping for a better performance of the Czechs, but overall, the Russians they're looking too good. I think the Russians are going to go all the way at this point.
Yeah, I think the Russians are probably a good pick to go all the way. Although I do have Canada beating them tomorrow. It's both my games tomorrow. I've already posted the odds. I have Finland over Sweden at 51% and Canada over Russia at 53%. And if this tournament and the other tracking that I've done for past tournaments shows me anything, it's that 51% and 53% are pretty much identical to one coin flip. And so it really could go either way. I think the Russians could pull it out over Canada today. Canada didn't look particularly strong today in terms of finishing on their opportunities, and we'll talk about that against Germany. But I think I agree. I could see the Russians going all the way. I'm surprised they didn't score more goals today, although they did get outshot. It was a pretty tight game. Russians came out strong in the first, and besides that, they took it away.
Yeah, and that was the one game I didn't really get to check in much on. But yeah, essentially the Russians are scoring at every part, and the goaltending has been interesting. When Russia struggles, Vasilevsky maybe isn't the greatest, but overall, I think Vasilevsky's having a decent tournament. And,
Vasilevsky's. I mean, I think it's hard to argue that Vasilevsky's not going to get goaltender of the tournament at this point if they stay in any longer. Guy's pitching a .946. He's let in 9 goals in 8 games now, right? Like, he's pitched 3 shutouts. Like, he's been very, very, very good.
He struggled at points against the Americans, but at the same time, that was one heck of a hockey game. That was one of the better hockey games I've seen in a long time. Hello to Elvis, who is here for the free pizza, according to our live chat.
Did you tell them there was free pizza? Because I did not.
I did not, but I was considering making some pizza for dinner. So
I just ate.
I'll make sure to. Oh well, there you go. I'll make sure to tweet out my pizza. But I actually, in my Instagram bio, at Stephen Ellis NHL, by the way, I say that I've never posted a food photo because one day I was so sick of seeing everyone post photos of their food on Instagram. I'm like, nope. They're probably sick of me posting photos of junior hockey games.
That's probably a two-way street on that one. Yeah, I'm sick of people having Instagram because I've never had it, and I don't think I ever will.
Oh, look, Nicholas Garcia, he says he wants pizza too. We should all just order pizza. We should just have one big virtual pizza party. Anyways, back to what's on topic. I think.
What topics do you guys want? What do you want?
Hot peppers.
Just no pizza, just hot peppers. Okay, good. Thanks. Anyways, I gotta go talk about hockey.
All right, I'm expecting
that was Denzel Washington.
Oh, okay. Is he bringing us pizza?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he is.
Anyways, I think Vasilevsky is easily one of the best goalies in this tournament. I want to even say Elvis Merzlikins. I think that he had a great tournament, but I think when you don't make it this far, it's hard to give it to them. And at one point I was going to say Thomas Greiss, then that all fell apart. And
Thomas Greiss, not so nice.
Not so nice today or this week. But anyways, let's go. Let's go. So here's those favorites were actually before the tournament, which. Yeah, it was weird that it took a while to get big. Anyways, let's go to talk about. I want to talk about Team Canada, and let's talk about how Team Canada played a strong game. They took 50 shots.
A strong game.
50 shots.
They outshot the opponent that they were leading 20-1 in the second period.
I still could not find that one shot. I never actually found that one shot on the stream.
Maybe they just gave it to them out of pity. Like, these poor guys, they have to deal with Thomas Greiss sometimes. Give them a shot.
But the shots were 50-20. That's a 30-shot difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite something. But
ridiculous. And you know what? When you're down by 2 in the third period and you're still getting outshot, that's like,
Oh, well,
that's how Canada was just virtually outplaying them. It's not even the score effect not even the game state effect of being down by 2 late in the third was enough, or midway through the third was enough to really get much German offense.
No, exactly. And that was for Germany there, like they were just holding on. And that was a situation where they were relying on Grubauer. And in parts of the tournament, we saw Greiss play a really good game against the States. So we saw in 2010, we saw Dennis Andres basically steal the show. We even saw Timo Pelmier in the last couple of years kind of be like the shocking guy for Germany. So Germany just has so many good goalies. Actually, should I say so many backup goalies and backup goalies.
So many second string goalies,
but a lot of decent ones in that. Actually, okay, I want to give a couple things about the GMHL, the Greater Metro.
Oh God, okay, we're gonna hop over to the Greater Metro Hockey League or whatever.
Yes, if you guys are here for our World Hockey Championship podcast, get ready for this story. This is when it gets really funny. So I was looking through some old pictures and old screenshots of things that happened in GMHL's past. One time, the Toronto Predators, their fourth goalie, they had to set him up as a forward in a game because they were running out of players. The fact that they have 4 goalies in this league kind of sucks. Then there's the fact that in one game, I can't remember who was playing, where the score was like 8-5 and 3 goalies took up the 3 stars. How does that happen? Like seriously, that's just nuts. And there was another game where
because it's not a real league.
There was one case where there was a team lost 8-1. And the goalie that allowed 8 goals gets the first star.
Was it Connor Crisp, maybe?
Might as well have been Connor Crisp, but it's like, oh, geez, the fact that this stuff happens. Another thing is how a team can go win 1 week 10-0 and then lose the next game. Or they'll lose 1 week 10-0 and win the next game 10-0. Like, how does that happen?
It might be rigged. I'm not launching any legal or formal accusations here, but the GMHL is a shit show scam, right? So...
Yeah, we lost a listener talking about the GMHL, so we'll probably should end that GMHL.
Back to Thomas Greiss being an almost Nazi.
Basically what Nicholas talks about here is Germany was only really good in the last few minutes of the game. Basically in the garbage time of the game where they're throwing anything in that.
Not even really that good then either.
not like
left in Canada that had full puck control in the offensive zone.
Oh, exactly. Again, Canada still had all the chances. The fact that Germany scored that goal was a big deal. It was a shorthanded goal, but Seidenberg was wow, that blew my mind. The other Seidenberg, the fourth line guy. It's actually been funny how many fourth liners are pulling big in this tournament. So I guess it's a pretty good thing to look at it, considering Canada's fourth line didn't do a whole lot today, but Point and Konechny and Marner, easily the most fun line in this tournament outside of maybe Russia's top
For sure. I want to say I did miss the start of the third period because I wasn't paying attention and it started. What was going on? I'm looking at the score sheet now. What happened with the David Wolf 2 and 10? He got a game misconduct for checking the head and neck area. What happened there?
I didn't get to see a good angle to the thing either, so I can't talk to that. But there's been some interesting hits. Did you see the? It confused everybody. But when Claude Giroux got a penalty for illegal face-off victory, did you see that?
Really? No.
So because
was that today?
Yeah. So he wins the face-off. Ryan O'Reilly takes a shot on net. It doesn't count because it was a delay of game penalty for an illegal face-off. It's because they had too many violations in a row. And
really,
I guess it didn't seem like TSN realized that because at first I was like, I
thought it was a penalty. I thought they were penalizing him for some sort of like, when NHL players will like purposely break their stick to get their team some more like rest or something before. I figured they called him on something like that when he got a delayed game. I didn't realize it was literally just for, you screwed up on the face-off too many times. That's another one of those, the U.S. got one today too, but it's another one of those like NHL player doesn't know like double IHF rule penalties.
Yeah. So overall, like I thought it was kind of it was a weird call. It didn't obviously change the state of the game. And there have been some interesting calls, and I know if Alvis is here, he'll definitely have some opinions on the calls against Latvia because there were definitely some bad ones against Latvia. And there was a Czech ref in particular that it just seemed to be going against the Latvians. And overall, yeah, it's Canada wins and Germany. You know what? Again, I'm not sure how impressed I was with the overall team, considering they did go a period with one shot, and they only had 7 shots in the first period. And the third period was the best. But again, all their chances really were in the last minute. And Calvin Pickard played great, and I didn't expect Calvin Pickard to be the starting goalie once they brought in Chad Johns.
He's another guy who's in the conversation if they go the whole way for the goaltender of the tournament between him. I mean, really, I would think right at this point, the team that wins on what day it'll be? What day will it be? What day is today? Thursday?
Yeah,
Thursday. So whoever wins on Saturday between Canada and Russia, that goalie is probably a pretty good lock to win goalie of the year, even if they lose in the finals, because Vasilevsky and Pickard have probably been the top 2 goalies in the tournament at this point.
Yep, and let's never forget that Vasilevsky actually was a starting goalie against Italy for some reason when they really did not need to put him in that game.
Isn't that the 10-1 game?
Yeah, there was no reason to put him in that game in the first place, but they had him start the game. So,
and just on Germany, I mean, if we're going to summarize, obviously as hosts, they really didn't get a game where they got absolutely cranked, which is important for the host country to see.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The team can compete, right? As opposed to, I mean, France never really got beaten bad, but Germany seemed like I mean, I'm not looking at it right now, but I don't recall Germany really getting beat that bad in any of their games. That's important for the crowd to see that, Germany can compete. It's not like Germany's a minuscule hockey country like a Slovenia or even like a Latvia where North American fans have no damn clue like that these places even compete. But Germany is one of those like bubble 8th teams, those teams that are pretty much on par with Slovakia, Switzerland, Belarus. So it's important for their fans to get some enjoyment, even in a game against Canada where they were getting outshot greatly, but the game wasn't really over until the final buzzer, and that's big.
Yep, exactly. And for that's huge for Germany, and the crowd support was great there. And I know there were a lot of talk, specifically in France, about the you can't purchase beer at the games. And as someone who's usually in the media box, I can't really say I know how this works, but a lot of people were pretty upset about that, and it just seemed like the fan experience, specifically in France, off ice, was not great. And in a country like France, in a city like Paris, it isn't huge on hockey. You probably need to boost the off ice stuff. And at least like when you look at the World Cup, for example, the World Cup had its own fan village that was running every single day, and that actually did really well. They got players coming to sign autographs. They did a Wayne Gretzky Q&A, and funny enough, I missed the time to go pick up my media pass for the Gretzky Q&A. So I stand in the crowd. I'm just out there, just watching, and they pick out like I was supposed to ask questions after in a little media scrum, but again, I couldn't go backstage because I missed it. And so a guy walks up, hands me a microphone, is like, "Hey, do you want to ask Gretzky a question?" I'm like, he just thinks I'm a fan. I'm like, well, that works out. Okay, sure, yeah, I'll ask a question. It was something about I don't even remember what it was, honestly. Then the next day he made an announcement basically with the NHL about the NHL 100, and I got to ask a question in that press conference when it was streamed online and on TV. So that was kind of cool because I was basically a chicken. Didn't ask anybody any questions until Wayne Gretzky, and I did it twice. So, yeah, anyways, that's not really important. But yeah, the fan village was really good.
No, but I think in terms of France, just quickly, like, it's interesting because Paris isn't a huge hockey place, but the places that have been most successful, I was just looking it up if people heard me clicking and typing, the places that have been most successful in the French league recently just don't have the arenas to fit a world championship, right? Like, you look at the Rouen Dragons, who have won like 5 or 6 of the last 7 or 8 like League Magnus championships. Their arena's like less than 3,000 people. So there's not a lot of solid options. I believe the one in Paris was at least, a 6 or a 7,000. I really don't know, but I guess when you're trying to host it in France, you're kind of hoping you get some sort of tourism bump, not a reverse tourism bump, really. Like the teams would bring in more fans because it's in Paris, but at the same time, there's bigger hockey markets in France than Paris, and so I'm not surprised if the fan experience really wasn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, like essentially, if you're going to host a tournament like this, you want it to be in a big city, and of course you go to France. I don't think the players were complaining. I don't think any of the fans that were in the city were complaining whatsoever. But again, it's just not a hockey. It's not a hockey country at all. It's not a hockey city in the first place. So, again, you have to do more. I'm trying to recall. I can't remember anything off ice for the World Juniors, but at the same time, it's in Canada. I don't think they really need to do anything.
No, I mean, I recall just having gone to a couple of those games. I know we went to, I think it was Germany, Swiss in Toronto for the relegation. And then I got to see Sweden, Finland in the semis, maybe quarters or semis, from a box seat, actually. And it was, the fan experience was like pretty solid outside. It wasn't much different from what a Maple Leafs game would be, except the fact that you'd see like if you're just downtown Toronto at that time, you see like Danish players like leaving their hotel rooms. That was kind of cool. Besides that, there wasn't really any added like intentional fan experience outside of what would be offered at like an average Maple Leafs game. And I think part of that is like it's in North America, and we've talked about this on Twitter, although I don't think we've touched on it fully here yet. But when you are having a tournament in North America that is almost exclusively European teams outside of Canada and the US, you don't bring in fans from those teams unless they're expats who live in Canada or the US.
Well, it's like there was a group of at the World Cup, there was a group of Swedish fans that did come from Sweden, and they were loving it. They were loud the whole time, and then of course the attendance was pretty. Much better. World Juniors specifically. World Juniors really struggled for attendance, and I know there's real put it this way. They were getting attendance that is bigger than pretty much the majority of rinks in Canada. But when you're charging so much, you could be charging so much less essentially, and get way more people into those games. And that's what they should have been doing. This is a junior tournament. A lot of these guys will never make it to the NHL. And as great of a tournament as it is for Canada, USA, there's no way anyone from Europe is going to come, because first off, the majority of people in Europe don't care about this tournament because it has always been more of a North American tournament. That's why it makes sense that North America gets the World Juniors more than they get the World Championship, because again, World Championship.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Like the World Juniors should be, or not should be, because I never want to say something should be. There's arguments on all sides, and there's no real objective. But the World Juniors tend to be more North American based. It's a nice time, the OHL, the WHL, everybody in the CHL and the USHL and even college hockey lets their players go to it.
That's always a shit show.
Part of it.
That's a shit show in the CHL when they do that. It's always
the CHL quality of hockey goes down substantially. I remember going to a London Knights game 2 or 3 years ago when it was like Max Domi and oh god, who's the Oli Mata? A couple other players who just weren't there because they were at the World Juniors. It was still great hockey, but it was given what you expected at the London Knights from the London Knights at those times, it was god awful.
In junior hockey, 2 or 3 good players changes the whole thing, and more so in the OHL than like even junior A. That's what I've noticed. So, anyways, we're well off the talk. I know that we did talk a bit about the ticket prices and everything at the World Juniors, and you didn't go to any of the junior games, right?
Sorry,
you didn't go to any of the junior games this past year, right?
No, not for the one that was. No, didn't go to a single one.
No. So I was there for all the Toronto games, and yeah, the attendance was terrible. And I was getting to the point where I was helping out somebody trying to give away tickets for actually like pretty decent seats, and I couldn't. People just didn't seem to want it, and it was weird. It's like there were $4 tickets in the 100 section, and even if you bought it in the 500 section, they or the 300 section, they weren't like you could have walked down to the 100 section no issue. Our friend Mariano, for example, I had tickets for him to go see Canada versus Latvia when Canada would destroy Latvia by a long shot. And they had seats in the 300s. I said, hey, just go one section below. And they got into the 100s, no problem. And like the fact is, it was really easy to watch good hockey. Just no, that Canada was there. Canada was there and nobody showed up. So overall, not great. Oh, yeah, I know. I was not a big fan of that game, but let's just say this.
It's a tournament that belongs. I mean, the World Juniors aside, if we're going to talk about the World Championships here, like the World Championships will always almost exclusively belong in Europe. As I was saying, like, and we got on this topic talking about French, the turnout and the fan experience in France. When you hold the World Championships anywhere in Europe, but especially when you hold it in hockey-friendly, like hockey big countries like Sweden, Finland, Norway. I mean, Norway's but like Norway, Denmark, even Belarus, Switzerland, anywhere in there, the Czechs, Slovaks, like anywhere in Europe that isn't, France, I would say, I guess, is like really France. And Germany's kind of arguably there. The German league is pretty big in Germany from what I know, but you get fans from every single country out. And that's so much different than what we get to experience here. Like I envy fans in Europe who get to go to a game and interact with, or if not interact with, then at least experience fans of 4 or 5 different teams all at the same, even if their team's not playing, all at the same game. Whereas here it's like, it's when it's in Toronto, it's 95% Canadian fans and 5%, random Swedish jerseys like dotted around, and probably still Canadians in Swedish jerseys dotted around the arena. There's definitely something to a fan experience that's more inclusive of all countries. That's probably more interesting and more fun.
Yep. And again, like the fan experience is so important. And that's something that I love to see this tournament in 2021 go to Latvia when that is one of the options for 2021. Because first off, I want to be there, but second, man, the fan experience, like Latvians are incredible fans. I just want to quickly say the IHF just put out their power rankings for today. I do like.
I'm sure it's just fucking hilarious.
I do like how they handle the teams that are eliminated already. Like Italy, Division 1, that's the best division, right? I've had to explain that to like 50,000 people. And then
I've heard that one before, so I get it.
Belarus will always have Salt Lake, like as in how they were good in Salt Lake, and well, the fluke there.
I'm impressed. The person running the social media for the IHF remembers, what was it, 2002 in Salt Lake.
And then one person says
you think they have like a 19-year-old Swedish kid running their double. Nope, they've got somebody who knows that Salt Lake happened.
Well, yeah, I bet you he'd probably, if it was a Swedish guy, he'd probably try to not remember it. But the switch is we didn't get enough goals from Ekman Larsson. I'm not sure what that means. But did he score in his own net? Maybe. I
don't remember.
Oh, Sweden, bring out the golden helmets. What? Oh, sorry, because that's what they do when they win tournaments. All right, okay, back off of that. How about
those are so awesome. Hire me to write those. It'll just be like Germany, our backup goaltender's a Nazi. This thing, like it's gonna be great.
How about this one? Canada. Last time we lost to Germany, Marner wasn't conceived. 1996
that's
the Germany one.
Theoretic. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. That's a fun fact.
Want to know what Russia's is?
Something about Putin, probably, right?
Big win for Russia.
It's gonna be huge. It's a huge win.
Elvis,
Switzerland. We haven't talked about Sweden, Switzerland yet.
Alvis, I'll tell you my story about how because I think I'm pretty sure I talked about the show, how I got to hang out with the Latvians in their change room. I'll tell you, Alvis, another time.
I've heard this.
So I shall, I'll tell Alvis another time. Anyways, so Sweden, Switzerland, and holy crap, is William Nylander not one of the most fun players in the world to watch play hockey?
He's so incredible. Hey, all you people who don't have William Nylander on your club team, you suck, because my God, he's something else, right? Like, he's just something else. He's so I mean, all the stuff earlier this year, and I know this is getting a little bit off topic again, but like all the the Leafs should consider trading William Nylander, that was coming out of like the same idiots who post all the dumb shit with the Kessel hot dogs, and that those people can just go and fuck off for a while after this game, because he was incredible today. He is like beyond any reasonable doubt the best player on this Swedish team.
Yep.
Period. And I'm including Henrik Lundqvist in that. I'm including, OEL. I'm including Ekman Larsson. He is elite.
OEL is Ekman Larsson, by the way.
Oh, sorry. OEL. Sorry, not Ekman Larsson. Nicholas Backstrom. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know why I mixed that up. I was just reading names off of the score sheet, and I managed to read the same name twice. But regardless, like, he is just so good and so dynamic and so shifty, and it's so interesting to watch and so fun to watch.
Yeah, basically Nylander, so if you guys didn't see the goal, he's getting attacked by Christian Marty. He's basically going after him. He trips right in front of the goal, and then he shoots it between Giannoni's legs, and oh my gosh, there we go.
Giannoni's good. Like, Giannoni has been good this tournament.
Let's not forget. So Giannoni is one of my favorite goalies in the world, because again, why would my goalies make any sense? My favorite goalies of all time are Jose Theodore, Cristobal Huet, Leonardo Giannoni, and Ryan Miller. Like, just really random. But two of them are former Montreal Canadiens. One's never even played in the NHL. And let's not forget, Rado Von Arx is one of my favorite players to ever play hockey. Again,
yeah, that's because you like HC DeVos, though.
Of course, who doesn't like HC DeVos? But basically,
with DeVos, I don't follow Swiss League.
Well, what's that?
What team does Giannoni? What's his club team?
He plays with SC Bern now. He did play with Davos, and then basically left. So I'm a little bitter, but at the same time, I like seeing him do really well for the Swiss. And Swiss is a team just no one hates. You can't hate them.
I kind of hate them sometimes.
Okay, shut up. You're not helping my point.
No, genuinely, I kind of like it's not because they do anything wrong or they're dirty, because they're not. And like, there's some players they have that are going to be really fun to watch in the future. Like Kay Schwery's fun to watch whenever he gets when he's in the World Juniors. Hopefully he'll be in the World Championships one day. And then Nico Hischier obviously is going to be very fun to watch in the future.
I'm curious as to why he's not in this tournament.
Sleeping? I don't know. What's his junior team? Is he still in the playoffs for that? It's worth looking up. But the thing with Nico Hischier and these guys is, one, they're not at this tournament, and that ruins my fun.
Yeah,
and also,
maybe
they just didn't think they needed him, which, I mean, anything could have been better than today when you lose in the quarterfinals. Obviously to a better team, obviously to Sweden, but still would have been nice. I think the thing with Switzerland that makes me not love them is when I started watching international hockey 5 or 6 years ago, when I really put focus on it, it was the Swiss team was like a shutdown team.
Yep, and
they were the 1-3-1 team of the world of every international hockey game. They'd win every game 1-0, and it was not fun to watch. It's like watching it's like watching the New Jersey Devils for like a whole decade and a half there, and still really going on that too. It's not fun hockey, and I don't like it as much as I like watching the very dynamic Sweden's and Denmark's, and even Latvia this tournament did have their dynamic moments.
Yep.
So I can hate Switzerland. Maybe I'm the only one, but I can hate Switzerland.
So Switzerland's not an exciting team to watch, but the part of it is also remember who some of the goalies or defensemen they've had. They've had Roman Josi play defense, and they've had Mark Streit. So that's a team that's really strong defensively. I thought they were decent. Again, they're a team that they like to do their upsets, and kind of like France. They always seem to be there for upsets, and Switzerland didn't pull off one today, which at one point, could have actually happened. But Sweden's such a fun team to watch. Their goaltending's Henrik Lundqvist is their goalie, and I don't even think he outplayed Victor Fast at all. I just think Lundqvist.
Not really. They were pretty even. Obviously, Fast lets in 3 goals. and Lundqvist lets in 1, but it's still, you know, not Fast, Giannoni. Sorry, I wasn't even thinking for a second there. Lundqvist, I think, is probably better than Fast, but not by a ton anymore. I think every year that Lundqvist ages, there's a little bit less talent there, and I always worry that he's going to retire without winning a cup, and I think that's getting closer and closer to happening.
Yeah, and another thing about Lundqvist is there's really is no.
Yeah, sorry about the mix up there. I don't know why I figured that Fast was the other goalie.
Yeah, but behind Lundqvist, there's really no next big goalie, and I'm not sure Victor Fast is that guy, considering he is already getting pretty old. And Fast, I thought it was pretty good. I feel bad for him. He kind of worked like this is when you play in Europe, like this is the tournament you're working for all year long. Plays well in this tournament and just gets taken away by Lundqvist. But again, Lundqvist has taken a couple big hits in this tournament too, which is kind of surprising. But anyways, that's kind of all I want to talk about that game. If anyone has any questions they want to ask us or what we want to discuss in the last couple of minutes of this, let us know. Basically, let's talk about the next round. So we kind of mentioned both Canada, Russia. What are the keys, do you think, in this game? Because I think that, again, both goalies are good, but I also think that they both have fun offense.
Yeah,
it's essentially the best two lines in the tournament, which is Russia's first line and Canada's fourth line.
Yeah, I do like that Canada's like fourth line is like, this is probably the best line in the tournament. Canada's fourth line, they're pretty damn good. But I have trouble really diagnosing like what it's gonna come down like. Canada probably has the better defense, and that might be what keeps them in the game. But if you're asking me to, without looking at my own odds, to make a pick for Saturday, it's probably going to be Russia. I think their forwards are probably more dynamic, and I don't know if people can tell, those who listen, but the dynamic forwards to me are the most interesting and best forwards, just because they're so unpredictable, and even when you can predict them, they can still get around you because they're shifty pretty often too. And I think the Russians have a lot of that. Their defense isn't obviously the best. It's good still, but it's not the best. It really does come down to how many pucks Vasilevsky stops in the end there. I think if you're going to ask me to put one finger on exactly what it's going to be, it'll be goaltending. And we'll see a game where both teams get about 27, 28 shots, about even power play time, and either team will squeak it out 2-1 or 3-2, maybe in overtime.
Yep, and I do think defense will be important, as Elvis pointed out. I do think that when you look at Russia, their defense has been pretty weak. And like Belov had a goal against the Americans, but I'm not sure he played well after that. And Provorov's been kind of struggling. Canada's defense, again, hasn't been the most exciting defense or the strongest defense. I will say Chris Lee, man, he started well, and it's kind of just fallen off completely. He was he was the guy that Fabrice Herzog deked out to score the winning goal for Switzerland, and he was also beaten on the goal today. We do have a question we got asked by Nicholas Garcia. In a tournament where the bronze and gold medal games are the very next day, do you think it's better to get the first semifinal or the second semifinal? I'm going to go with first semifinal, but I don't think there's too much of an advantage over it. I'd love to know the stats of actually it's the team who's won the first semifinal has gone on to win more. There's not a huge difference in the time. So like one team plays like 10 a.m. Eastern time, the next team plays 2 p.m. There's not a huge difference as opposed to one team playing at 7 and another team playing at like 1. So because of that, I don't think like there's a huge like rest advantage. There is a slight one, but I don't think there's too much for it to matter, especially at this level of hockey.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I would also be interested if we can isolate the strength of the team they played against and stuff like that, and see with everything else, held constant and controlled for, does a team with the extra 4 hours of rest really do much better? I would probably say it's not likely a big deal. And if any of the teams saw it as a big deal, they'd probably fight for like different scheduling than the IIHF does. Even if that different scheduling meant that they played 2 games at once in 2 different arenas. And you don't really see teams fighting for that. I don't think the 4 hours is a big deal. What I do think might have some impact, although I don't think it's enough to really swing a game unless that game is like a 50-50 total toss-up. Like team might as well have been playing itself. That's how close it is. is the strength of the team they played before. So if you got a semifinal match, and just theoretically, the semifinal match is Russia versus Sweden and Canada versus Latvia. As much as I, appreciate Latvia, Canada probably has to put in less effort to win that semifinal than Russia or Sweden would have to put in to win that one, which might lead to a bit more of a tired opposition for the Canadian team in the finals of that theoretical, rhetorical, completely fictional scenario I've made up. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be big. I don't think it makes a difference. I think what might make a difference is that Sweden might just clock the hell out of Finland, whereas Canada and Russia have to struggle against each other. So maybe Sweden comes in with a slight advantage because they didn't have to, use all their power in the semis.
Another thing that's again, it's a minor thing, but it is something. Basically, Sweden and Russia both played in France. The tournament's over in France. It's now just in Germany, which means they're going to have to spend tomorrow traveling. I would want to assume it's going to be a day off for all the teams, and then maybe a morning skate, or
that's what I think. I mean, it's that, or the teams that aren't traveling take a quick skate. But honestly, I'm going to be honest here. I've seen the statistics for it in the NHL, and having rest does matter, but it doesn't matter that much.
No,
it matters. And having a little bit of extra time to rest is it's fine, and it does lead to slightly higher win percentages if everything else is held constant, but not more than a couple percent swings one way or the other. I believe it's not the same as a home. I don't want to say it's even at all similar to a home ice advantage that literally does make a difference. I think the home team wins 53 or 54% of the time in the NHL at least. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's around what it was last time I saw. I don't think having a skate the day before versus not having it, or traveling versus not, is a huge deal, especially when the teams that we have in the finals here are pretty evenly matched all together, I would say.
Yeah, let's also another couple points that Nicholas Garcia came up with was look at the 2015 World Juniors. Canada, they had to travel from Montreal to Toronto, and then they played Slovakia in the quarter, or the semifinals, and they beat Slovakia. In that game.
Also, Montreal Toronto is a fun hour and a bit flight.
Tops. Yeah, that's
it's like if you drove from where I am now to Toronto.
Yeah, you're not switching countries and spending time on the border. No, it's pretty quick. It actually doesn't.
I don't know the distance from Paris to Cologne though. It might be just as close. I genuinely am. I'll look it up.
Put it this way,
but I genuinely.
It's a 5-hour drive from Toronto to New York City, and it was about a 40-minute flight when I took it. So
right.
It did the 40-minute flight, but it took me 7 hours in the airport to actually go anywhere. Another thing, Garcia,
it's about a 3.5 hour flight. It looks like from Cologne to Paris.
Yeah, which again, that's not bad. That's not like they're going from they're not going from Toronto, or they're not going from Montreal to Anaheim. So it's another thing. It's all 4 teams that had to travel won their quarterfinals. Which means
in what
this year, which then they used train to travel from Cologne to Paris. Okay, well, they can't be jet lagged, so I guess it's not actually a big deal.
Yeah.
So
same time.
Based off the fact that all 4 teams that had to travel won the quarterfinals, 2 of those teams now have to travel again, which are Sweden and Russia. Alvis says that he predicts those 2 teams to play in the finals. Do you agree?
I might agree that it'll be Sweden and Russia. I don't agree with it based on those terms. I would probably pick, if you told me to pick a team right now. I mean, it's really hard for me to pick. If I go with my odds, it's Finland, Canada. If I go with what I think is probably going to happen, it's Sweden, Russia. So it's really tough. I don't think whether you travel or not, you'd have to show me a lot more than 4 or 5 games this year. You'd have to show me over the last 20 years, teams that travel win 48% or they win 52%. You have to show me something that is a tangible over a larger period of time difference. I think it's an interesting fact. It's fun. I'm glad somebody found that and brought that up, because it is interesting and it is cool. But I don't think it's going to have much of an impact. It's more of a look at this thing that happened in the past that's fun, less of a we can use this to predict thing.
Yeah. Now, Belarus and Canada. So you look at Artemi Panarin, first in scoring, Kucherov, second in scoring, Shipchayev 5th overall in scoring, Gusev 9th in scoring. So they got a lot of offense. I don't know. I just feel like I'm more confident in Canada's depth. And here's the issue. Guys like Claude Giroux and Matt Duchene are not playing well for Canada, but Jeff Skinner's playing great. And Nathan McKinnon got most of his points early. Mitch Marner's playing great. Braden Point's been good. I do think that who's the third guy on that fourth line?
Konecny.
I thought Konecny hasn't actually been playing as good as he could. Based off of what we should see. Remember Konecny in the 2016 World Juniors was basically like, hey, sorry, we're going to just sit you on the bench and for some stupid reason. Now here he is playing a big role. I do think that I like Canada's depth at every position more. Doesn't matter what goaltending, obviously, but defense, I like Canada's defense better. I think Vlasic had an incredible last few games after a really slow start in the tournament.
Vlasic was a standout defenseman as well.
Vlasic was a huge reason why they had only one shot against in the second period. I think Mike Matheson's having a good tournament. I think definitely Canada's better defensively. It's just it's going to be a scoring battle. I'm not sure. Canada and Russia typically do play big, high-scoring games, but I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that's going to be what happens in this case. I think Canada's also played a lot of close games because they're really strong defensively, and if they could shut down the Russian offense, well, then Canada's got the advantage at defense. So
and that's going to be the whole thing is going to be whose defense can shut down whose offense. We've seen the Canadian, even today, we saw the Canadian, I mean, I guess not today because they did outshoot them 50-20. We've seen in other games in this tournament, the Swiss being probably a solid example. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe that was a situation where Canada didn't really vastly outshoot them. It wasn't the 50-20, at least certainly, that it was today. I think what we're going to see there is can Canada's offense get stifled by Russia's defense? And if it does, because I think the Russian offense is probably going to outplay the Canadian defense, but it's a pretty even matchup. It's going to come down to, can the Russian defense stop the Canadian offense? And if not, can Andrei Vasilevsky stop the Canadian offense? And if both of those fail-safes, don't work, then Canada might clobber them like 4-1, 5-1, which for a Russia-Canada game I would say is a clobbering. But
and even then, that's not out of the question. We've seen that pretty much at every level.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen tons of games where teams that are close together beat each other 5-1, 6-1. We saw this tournament, France, a team that should be nowhere near Finland, if Finland had its way, beat France 4-1, 5-1 with the empty net goal. I have so much trouble picking the games tomorrow. I really do. It comes down to a lot.
There's no upset teams.
It comes down to gut. If and I don't trust my model with games this close because it's shown that it really anything under about 55 or 56%, it's pretty much a toss-up. Something I have to look at and see if that changes if I tweak some things. But really, if it comes down to a gut decision, and I think if I have to make a pick here, I'm going to say I think Sweden's going to beat Finland probably like 3-1, 3-2, maybe 4-1, probably 4-2. And then I really want to say Canada beats Russia, but I think Russia probably beats Canada 2-1, 3-1, 3-2.
I'm projecting 2 one-goal games, and it's I feel like if there's going to be a blowout, I think if there's a blowout, I think it's Canada blowing out Russia.
If it's a shootout, Russia wins like 8 out of 8 times, every time.
No, 8 out of 8, not 10. Okay, I like your maths. All right, so I guess we got those up. I'm unfortunately gonna miss the rest of the tournament, and it's funny because in past years that's actually happened before for completely different reasons. One year, I don't recall why. I want to say it was the Indy 500, probably not. Another week, it was another year because I was sick and I just couldn't look at my computer. So I typically miss the finals a lot. So I missed most of last year. Oh, because last year I was in an online race for money. I was winning the race and my computer overheated, so I didn't get to finish it. Really disappointing. But essentially, anything else you like to add?
No. Do you have like now that we're slowly getting down to? Do you want to revise your picks that you made? The winner picks that we made?
Okay, well, I kind of have to. It's all to you. But actually, another thing I want to say, Helene Elliott from the LA Times. Well, if you guys don't know, Nashville, every game one of their series, every series they've done, they give the reporters like a bottle of alcohol They did Jack Daniels. I think they've done vodka. They've done a couple other things. Today's goodie bag that they give you, get rid of Jack Daniels, get rid of all the other things. They just gave you a sugar cookie.
Yeah, maybe they were,
That's a big difference.
Somebody's got to pay PK. Somebody's got to pay PK. It's got to come out of the budget. No more Jack Daniels. We got to give that man his money. So.
Yeah. So.
But no.
Okay. Anyways. Yeah. Well, I pretty much had like it has to be different for me. Russia was my. Did I say it was? Yeah, I said Canada, Sweden as the finals, and I had Russia.
I think I had Canada, Sweden as the final as well.
Yeah, I had Russia coming in 4th place to Germany just because off of they're going to pull a major upset and they're going to just go nuts. That was risky.
Then they drew Canada.
Yeah, they almost beat Canada. But yeah, so basically I'm going to go with Canada first, Sweden second, Russia third, and Finland 12th.
Yeah, 12th, 708th. I think if I'm sticking with the picks I just made, where it's Sweden, Russia, I think it's Sweden first, Russia second, Canada third, Finland fourth. If it's, and I think all you got to do, if I think Sweden beats Canada too, so I think it's Sweden. If Canada beats Russia, it's Sweden first, Canada second, Russia third, Finland fourth. So basically, Sweden's going to win, Finland's going to come fourth, and then whoever wins Canada, Russia, swap those two in the second and third positions, I would say.
All right. Well, there we go. So, yes, thank you very much for doing all these.
Maybe we'll get a patented Henrik Lundqvist collapse. Maybe we'll get that.
Hopefully not physically and just play that.
No, not physically. I would never want that.
Yes, but all right. So thank you very much for coming on this show in the last few days and talking about this awesome tournament that I absolutely love and I think everybody else should.
Oh, yeah.
They're not in this tournament. Yeah, thanks everyone for thanks everyone who followed from the start of these exhibition games I covered, like Latvia, Germany twice, and France something, Hungary, Slovenia, like all those million games. Thanks everyone who followed me personally for that, and maybe just for fun, we should just do this for the Pan Am Ice Hockey Games to see if anyone cares.
No.
Okay, we will not do this with the Pan Am Ice Hockey
Games. Argentina Team B against Chile. It's just not fucking happening.
Well, again, if you, I will be tweeting about as much as I possibly can. I'm pretty sure they're trying to stream this tournament, so we can actually watch it and not have to watch someone periscope it. So remember the first time we were looking at like
they talk to their like relative in a language I don't speak.
Yeah, like it'd be kind of cool if they put a bit more effort. It's really easy to stream those games, to be honest. It's I could stream it. So that's the next hockey I talk about after that. The next
Periscope can stream it.
What's that?
Some random guy on Periscope can apparently stream it, so I can't imagine the IHF can't.
Well, see, somebody streamed the Lebanon versus Haiti game on Facebook Live.
These teams play hockey where?
In Montreal.
I mean, I assume in Lebanon and Haiti, but in Montreal, is that where they played?
One game they played at the Raymond Bourque Arena.
Was it just Haitian Canadians versus Lebanese Canadians?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yeah, like okay. George LaRock played
for the Jamaican team.
Like George LaRock played for Haiti, so
right.
Anyways, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for everybody who chatted. Thanks for everybody who talked on Twitter, and that's it. See you later, people.